The case you're about to see is fictional, but the procedure is legally accurate. The characters are played by actors, but the jury is selected from members of the public.
Doctor, could you please explain to the court why you say these 2 marks on Mr. Mustin's neck were love bites? I want the jury to be very clear on this point.
I'm quite sure the jury is absolutely clear on this point, Mrs. Forrest. It's already been laboured ad nauseam by counsel for the prosecution. But I suppose if you feel you must...
It is rather an important point in my case, my lad.
Yes, I thought it might be, Mrs. Forrest.
Doctor?
Well, they were suction lesions caused by somebody sucking hard on the skin with the mouth so as to break the capillaries, and thus causing a small oval-shaped bruising.
And that is the medical definition of a love bite?
If you like, yes.
Well, it's not really a bite at all, then, is it? I mean, it's not done with the teeth.
No.
Is it painful?
I shouldn't have thought so, no.
Well, can't you tell us from your own experience?
Not anything really recently, I'm afraid.
You said that rather regretfully, Doctor.
Please, Mrs. Forrest, I can understand the temptation in a case of this nature to encourage ribaldry, but please try and avoid it. It's no joke for the defendants, you know.
The case occupying the attention of the jury at the Crown Court this week is one of assault, causing actual bodily harm, and indecent assault. The accused, who all plead not guilty, are 3 housewives working at Johnson's Plastics, Fulchester, and the complainant is another employee of the firm, David Mustin.
Take the book in your right hand and read the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth.
I'm afraid you'll have to speak up, Mr. Mustin.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. Is your name David Mustin and you live at Mountain Ash, Priory Road, Fulchester?
Yeah.
Where do you work, Mr. Mustin?
Johnson's Plastics.
Is that in Fulchester?
Yeah, Fairburn Street.
And what is your job there?
I'm an electrician.
How old are you?
33.
Are you married?
Yeah.
I'm afraid I can't hear the witness, Mr. Sissons, and if I can't, I'm sure the jury can't.
Do try to speak up, Mr. Mustin, please. It only prolongs matters. Are you married?
Yeah.
How long have you been married?
10 months.
Do your duties as an electrician take you into various parts of the factory?
Yeah.
Has the word yes completely disappeared from the English language? It certainly seems to have done. Yes, all right, Mr. Sissons, go on.
My lord. Can you tell the court where your duties took you on the afternoon of the 20th of July this year, Mr. Mustin?
Yeah, to the packing department.
Why did you go into the packing department that afternoon?
Well, someone reported a smell of burning coming from a power point.
Can you tell the court what you found when you went into the packing department?
Do you...
Was anything happening in the packing department?
Oh, yeah, the girls, they were having a party.
The girls?
Yeah, the women packers.
A party in working hours, was that usual?
Well, not usual, no, but you see, it was Frida's birthday and they'd clubbed together, you know, got a few sandwiches and cakes and booze and that.
Frida, who is Frida?
Oh, Frida Miller, Mrs. Miller.
The defendant on the left?
Yeah.
What kind of drink had they bought?
Oh, wine and a bottle of gin, mainly.
And this party was in progress when you walked in?
Yeah.
What happened then?
Well, Rhoda, she offered me a drink.
Rhoda?
Yeah, that's Mrs. Benson.
The defendant on the right?
Yeah.
Did you accept the drink?
Yeah, I said I'd have some wine.
And she gave you a glass of wine?
Well, it was in a mug.
Now, who exactly gave you the wine?
Avril, Mrs. Bullen.
The defendant in the middle?
Yeah.
How much wine did she give you, Mr. Mustin? A little, a lot?
Too much.
How much too much?
Well, I asked for just a wet, you know, a drop. Well, I was supposed to be working, wasn't I? But Avril, she fills the mug right up to the top.
Did you protest?
Yeah, I said she was trying to get me drunk.
And what did she say to that?
Well, she asked me if I felt randy when I got drunk.
I can't... He's dropping his voice again, Mr. Sissons. I can't hear a word he's saying.
Yes, my lord. Please do try to speak up, Mr. Mustin. I realise this is very embarrassing for you, but it is important that his lordship and the jury hear what you have to say. Now, you said that Mrs. Bullen asked you if you felt randy when you got drunk.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Well, I said not especially. I usually fell asleep.
And what did Mrs. Bullen say to that, Mr. Mustin?
Well, she said that booze turned her on.
Now, did she do anything at this stage?
Yes, she kissed me.
Where did she kiss you?
Well, on the lips.
Just like that?
Pardon?
Or did she kiss you just like that, out of the blue, without invitation?
Oh, yeah.
Did you respond in any way?
Well, yeah, I suppose I did at first. I was that surprised, you know, for a start.
And then what did you do?
Well, I tried to pull away from her.
Could you?
Well, no, she had her hands around my neck. She kind of, she locked her hands around the back of my neck.
Could you address your remarks to the jury, please?
Hello. She kind of locked her hands around the back of my neck, you know, like this, and she was holding on to me.
And what did you do then?
Well, I pulled my hands up to try and kind of force her hands apart.
Did you succeed?
Well, nearly, but then she called out for the others to come and help her.
Now, what exactly did she say? Can you remember?
Well, not exactly. She said something like, hey, come on, girls, he don't know what's good for him. Something like that.
Come on, girls, he don't know what's good for him. Did she get any response from the other ladies?
Oh, yeah.
What response?
Well, they all piled in, didn't they?
Piled in?
Yeah, grabbed me.
All of them?
Well, it felt like all of them.
And what did they do when they piled in?
Well, I fell on the floor with Avril on top of me.
Was she still kissing you?
Yeah, all over the place. I mean, my face, my neck, I mean...
Was she doing anything else?
Well, she gave me a couple of love bites. I found that out afterwards when I looked at myself.
What do you call a love bite, Mr. Mustin?
Well, it's difficult to explain, isn't it, really? It's a sort of... well, it's an hard kiss, isn't it?
A very passionate kiss?
Yeah.
How well do you know Mrs. Bullen?
Not very well.
You're not friends or anything?
No.
She kissed you very hard?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, the love bites were on my neck.
Did you actually see her kissing you on the neck very hard?
Well, no, I couldn't see her kissing me, but I could see the top of her head, though.
And you could feel the kisses?
Yeah, definitely.
And it definitely was Mrs. Bullen?
Yeah, Avril. Mrs. Bullen.
Now, you said the other ladies grabbed you and you fell down with Mrs. Bullen on top of you.
Yeah.
Were the other women holding you?
Yeah, they were holding me arms.
And then what happened?
Well, Mrs. Benson, she started to undo my shirt.
You're sure it was Mrs. Benson?
Yeah, I could see her out the corner of an eye. This eye.
Did she say anything?
Yeah, she said something like, hey, look, he's got hairs on his chest.
Did she say anything else?
Well, she'd nearly got my shirt off by this time, and I heard her say, go in, he got a bonny little belly button.
Just a minute, Mr. Sissons. What I told counsel for the defence applies to the rest of the court. These proceedings are in no way humorous. If I have any more interruptions, I shall clear the court.
My lord. Were you just lying there submitting to all this?
Well, no, I was struggling or trying to, but I couldn't move. I mean, somebody got hold of my arms and somebody else got hold of my legs. I mean, I was helpless.
Did you feel anything else at this stage?
Well, it was the lipstick, wasn't it? I mean, I felt something moving on my stomach.
And how did you know it was lipstick?
Well, afterwards, when I went to look at myself, it was obvious.
What was obvious?
Well, they'd drawn a big sun.
We can hardly hear you, Mr. Mustin.
They'd drawn a big sun on my stomach.
Where exactly on your stomach?
Well, here, you know. And they'd used my navel, you know, for the middle.
And they'd drawn it with lipstick?
Yeah, purple.
Now, was anything else happening to you during this arts class?
Yeah.
What else was happening?
Well, I felt a couple of scratches on my arm, you know, and I yelled out. And I heard Frida, she said, oh, sorry, David, love, I've caught you with me ring. You shouldn't struggle so hard.
Mrs. Miller. Now, was Mrs. Miller holding one of your arms?
Well, I couldn't see her, but well, she must have been, yeah.
Did you hear Mrs. Miller say anything else?
Yeah.
What?
Well, it was Mrs. Benson that started it.
Started what?
Well, she said, I can't see what his wife can see in him.
Please go on, Mr. Mustin.
Well, then she said, hey, Frida, how'd you like this for your birthday?
Anything else?
Yeah, then she said, come on, let's christen him.
And then what happened?
I felt wet.
Where?
Well, over over me private parts, you know. They were pouring drink over me, weren't they?
Did anyone else say anything at this stage?
Yeah, I heard Frida say, bombs away, and I felt all wet again.
Now, were any of these ladies the worse for drunk?
Yeah, well, Mrs. Miller was, definitely.
And Mrs. Bullen, was she still kissing you?
Oh, no, she'd stopped by then.
Did she say anything?
Yeah, I heard her say, come on, let's drown the bugger.
And?
Well, the same, I felt all wet.
What happened next?
Well, somebody shouted out somebody was coming, and they just got up and they walked away.
And you were left lying on the floor?
Yeah.
Now, presumably you eventually got up.
Yeah, I got up quick.
In what condition were you in?
Well, my shirt was hanging out and I was covered in lipstick.
What about your trousers?
Well, they were undone and they were all wet.
What did you do?
I just went away. I just felt such a fool, you know.
Did you remonstrate with the ladies?
What?
Tell them off?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I just felt such a fool, you know.
Now, what were they doing at this stage?
Well, there's a lot of giggling going on. I heard somebody shout out, I think it was Mrs. Benson. She said, don't leave it so long till next time, David, love. You know you're always welcome here.
So you left the packing department. Now, where did you go?
I went to the toilets.
What did you do there?
Well, I tried to clean myself up, you know, get the lipstick off my face and my neck and my shirt. And,
Did you succeed?
Well, I couldn't get it off my shirt. It wouldn't come off, not without washing.
Is that the shirt that you were wearing, Mr. Mustin? Exhibit 1.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, presumably, you went home.
Yeah.
Why didn't you complain to the police? Or to anyone else, for that matter, before you went home?
Well, I felt such a fool, you know.
But when you got home, you complained to your wife?
Yeah.
And subsequently to the police?
Yeah.
Now, what made you change your mind? Now, you said you didn't complain before you went home because you felt such a fool. But what made you complain later?
Well, I got mad, didn't I?
Angry?
Yeah.
Angry at what?
Well, with them three.
Angry at them for assaulting you?
Yeah, well, it's not right, is it? I mean, women doing that to a bloke, it's just not right, is it?
What's your attitude to sex, Mr. Mustin?
What?
Well, you're not a prude, are you?
No.
What these ladies did to you wasn't just innocent horseplay.
Well, no. If I'd done that to them, there would have been hell to pay, wouldn't there? I mean, they'd have put me in prison and thrown away the key, wouldn't they?
If you're not a prude, Mr. Mustin, what are you?
I don't know.
Are you a promiscuous man, then?
No.
Well, most men are, aren't they?
Well, I'm not.
Not even at work? Away from home, standards of behaviour differ, don't they, between home and work?
Well, I don't know about that.
Is all this relevant, Mrs. Forrest?
My learned friend raised the matter, my lad.
Yes, I know.
So I was trying to establish, if Mr. Mustin wasn't a prude, what exactly he was.
It seemed to me that you were making generalizations about male morals.
It was the woman in me showing, my lad.
Yes, I've no doubt, Mrs. Forrest.
How many men are employed at your firm, Mr. Mustin? Johnson's Plastics?
Oh, I don't know, about a dozen, 20.
20? How was it, then, that you were the only one to go to the party this afternoon? The only one of 20?
Yeah.
That fact hardly seems to support your last contention, does it, Mrs. Forrest?
How was it you were the only one to go to the party, Mr. Mustin?
Well, I didn't know there was a party until I got there. I just went to look at this stuffed PowerPoint.
Well, wasn't it common knowledge there was to be a party? Common knowledge throughout the works?
I didn't know.
Oh, you hadn't seen the notice pinned to the packing room door all day? Knees up for Frida, this afternoon, everybody welcome.
No, I didn't see that.
Didn't you see it when you went into the packing room that afternoon?
Well, no, I don't remember doing so.
I put it to you that you went to that party deliberately, for a knees up, for a drink.
No, I went to look at this PowerPoint.
Well, nobody remembers reporting a faulty PowerPoint.
Yeah, but I got a phone message.
Didn't you really go in response to the invitation? For a good time, and in working hours, too?
No.
Better than working. A party, a chance to chat up the birds, as they say.
Well, I don't say that, Mrs. Forrest.
Engage them in conversation, my lad. Flirt with them.
Yes, I know what it means. I'm not an anachronism yet.
No, my lad. You're fond of chatting the birds up, aren't you, Mr. Mustin?
Well, no, not especially.
Oh, you're well known through the factory for it.
Well, I'm no worse than the other blokes.
So, You went into the packing room, you saw the party in progress, and you accepted a drink.
Yeah.
Well, haven't they a reputation, some of these works parties, for being rather boisterous?
No?
Well, what about at Christmas? Aren't the parties then very lively? Isn't there a lot of horseplay, sexual horseplay?
Yeah, well, that's Christmas. I mean, this was just a birthday party.
Oh, you knew it was a birthday party. I thought you said it was a complete surprise to you, that you'd no idea there was to be a party until you walked into the room.
I hadn't.
I think you had, and you went there hoping for some horseplay.
No.
Isn't that why all the other men in the factory stayed away? Because they didn't want to get involved?
Well, I don't know. I can't answer for the others.
Mrs. Forrest, you really do like to have your cake and eat it.
Yes, my lad. It's the woman in me again. So, you went in there, you saw there was a party in progress, you accepted a drink, and then Mrs. Bullen kissed you.
Yeah.
Out of the blue?
Yeah. Oh, she asked me if booze turned me on first.
Yes, I'm coming to that. Wasn't it, in fact, you who said that to her? Didn't you say, wine, does it turn you on or something, Avril? It does the wife.
No, I
Then,
didn't.
when she handed you the mug of wine, didn't you take the mug with both hands, trapping her hand in the process?
No, I didn't.
She will say that you did.
I didn't.
Then you said, why not see for yourself? And it was then that you kissed her.
Look, she kissed me out of the blue, just like that.
Did you enjoy it, her kissing you?
Well, yeah, I did at first, but not when she wouldn't...
She's a very attractive woman.
Look, please let the witness finish, Mrs. Forrest. This might interest us all.
I'm sorry, my lad. Did you enjoy Mrs. Bullen kissing you?
Well, yeah, I did at first, but not when she wouldn't stop. I mean, I could hardly breathe.
Well, she's a very attractive woman, Mrs. Bullen, isn't she?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Oh, come now, Mr. Mustin. You can be more gallant than that, surely. She is a very attractive woman. You can see. The court can see.
Yeah, well, I suppose she is, yeah.
And yet you didn't enjoy this attractive woman kissing you
But she took me by surprise, didn't she?
after you got over your surprise.
Yeah, but then the others were on to me, weren't they?
Yes, and you fell to the floor.
Yeah.
You're quite a big young man, aren't you? Muscular.
Well, keep myself fairly fit.
You play football, I believe. You're in the works team.
Yeah, I'm the goalkeeper.
Yet these three ladies were able to pull you to the floor.
Well, it wasn't just those three. I mean, there were 6 or 7 of them.
Even so, you couldn't manage to break away, a big, strong, fit young man like you.
No, I couldn't.
Couldn't kick out?
No.
Strike out?
No.
You didn't want to strike out, did you, Mr. Mustin? You were enjoying yourself too much, weren't you?
No.
Enjoying being manhandled, enjoying being kissed by this very attractive lady.
No.
Enjoying the love biting.
No.
Then why did you love bite Mrs. Bullen in return?
I didn't.
She will say that you did, bite for bite.
I didn't.
In fact, she will say that her kissing was quite restrained compared to yours. And she can't understand how she managed to mark your neck.
But she did mark me.
About the lipstick incident, drawing on your stomach. Again, you didn't struggle to avoid it, to escape.
Well, I couldn't struggle.
I suggest you did the reverse.
What? Revert?
When the drawing had been completed with your collusion,
No.
and didn't you expand your stomach muscles and say, look, the sun's rising, then retract them and say, look, the sun's setting?
No, I never. No. I haven't got any stomach muscles to speak of. I got a bit of a belly.
You've just told us you keep fairly fit.
Yeah, well, not that fit.
You told the court you felt drink being poured over your private parts.
Yeah.
Did you actually see who did the pouring?
Well, no, I couldn't see, not with Avril on top of me.
So you can't positively say it was any one of the defendants who poured drink over you?
Well, no, I couldn't see.
If indeed drink was poured.
But it was, definitely.
And once again, you didn't struggle.
Look, I couldn't struggle.
You made a very submissive rape victim, didn't you, Mr. Mustin? Using the word rape loosely in your case, of course, for it isn't something that happens to men, is it?
Mrs. Forrest, perhaps not in the clinical sense, but not impossible in the emotional sense, and just as traumatic, you know.
I doubt it, my lad.
Yes, I thought you might, Mrs. Forrest.
So, after all this, you went to the toilet to wash off the lipstick.
Yeah.
From your face.
Yeah.
From your stomach.
Yeah.
But not from your shirt.
Well, I couldn't get it off my shirt.
So, you had to go home wearing it, the shirt in the condition we see it in today?
Yeah.
Oh. And were the alleged love bites visible at this stage?
Well, yeah, I suppose they were, yeah.
How did you get home?
On the bus.
Pretty full at that time of day, I suppose.
Yeah, it was packed.
Some of your friends on the bus with you, were there?
Yeah,
Friends of your wife, too?
yeah,
Any neighbours?
yeah.
So all these people saw the lipstick on your shirt and the love bites. They could see those too, could they?
Well, yeah, I suppose so, but nobody said anything.
But they could have seen the lipstick and the love bites.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
As could your wife when you eventually arrived home.
Yeah.
She could see them, the lipstick, the bites, and she plainly was aware that you travelled home in that condition.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it to go to the police, Mr. Mustin?
Oh, that was mine.
Wasn't it your wife's?
Oh, no, that was mine.
Wasn't she very angry to see you in that condition? A husband, a new husband, arriving home with purple lipstick all over his shirt and love bites on his neck.
Well, she wasn't none too pleased.
So didn't she insist that you went to the police?
No, why should she? It was my idea.
Well, why wasn't it your idea at the factory?
Well, I don't know, I just felt such a fool, you know, like I told him.
Well, why change your mind after you got home from the factory and complain to the police? Wasn't it because of pressure from your wife?
No.
Are you sure, Mr. Mustin?
Yeah.
The complaint wasn't by any chance a cover-up, was it?
What?
A pretense to your wife that you were the victim instead of a ready participant in this affair? Wasn't that why you agreed to complain to the police?
I didn't agree to complain.
Oh, you'd no choice, had you, Mr. Mustin? You were caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Either admit to your wife you'd been a party to what happened or agree to complain to the police.
But I didn't agree to complain to the police.
He seems to be very adamant about that, Mrs. Forrest.
Yes, Milan. I put it to you, Mr. Mustin, that all that happened in the packing room that afternoon was merely horseplay, and you were a willing party to it.
No.
In fact, instigated it by going to the party in the first place.
No.
The only man of 20 to do so.
No.
And having instigated it, enjoyed it.
No.
That is, until you got home and your wife had to be faced. And that was when you changed your tune, wasn't it?
No.
Pretended to be the injured party, agreed to complain to the police.
No.
A big, strong sportsman like you, Mr. Mustin, molested by a few women.
Well, they didn't behave like women, did they? They behaved like animals. I mean, women can be promiscuous too, you know.
I've no further questions, my lad.
Join us again tomorrow when the Queen against Benson, Bullen and Miller will be resumed in the Crown Court. The case you're about to see is fictional, but the procedure is legally accurate. The characters are played by actors, but the jury is selected from members of the public. The case continues before the jury sitting at the Crown Court, in which 3 housewives deny assault. They're alleged to have attacked and molested a young male employee called David Mustin at their place of work. The alleged incidents took place at a birthday party for one of the women in the packing department at Johnson's Plastics, Fulchester.
Mr. Bass, do you wish to cross-examine?
If you please, my lad. I represent Mrs. Miller, Mr. Mustin. Mrs. Frida Miller. She denies virtually everything you've said. For instance, she will say that she never held you down.
Well, she did. I know she was one of them.
Did you actually see her holding you?
Well, I couldn't see her, not with Avril on top of me, but I got these scratches from her ring, so how did I get them?
But you didn't actually see her ring scratch you.
No, but I felt it.
But you couldn't see it.
Well, no, how could I?
She will also deny the indecent assault, pouring drink over you.
Well, I know she was one of them.
But again, you never saw her do it.
No.
So you didn't actually see her doing any of the things that you allege she did.
Right.
When you were leaving the packing room after the incident, you said to Mrs. Miller, "I don't know what the wife's going to say, Frida."
No, I didn't.
She will say that you did. Thank you, Mr. Mustin.
Mr. Mustin, you have told the court you heard Mrs. Miller say, "Sorry, love, I caught you with my ring."
Yeah.
You're in no doubt about that. It couldn't have been anyone else who said it.
I know Frida's voice. I'd know it anywhere.
And again, before you were indecently assaulted, you heard Mrs. Miller say, "Bombs away."
Yeah.
And again, you're sure it was her voice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, it's quite true, isn't it, that you did feel a fool immediately after the event?
Well, yeah, who wouldn't have? Being set on by a pack of women.
But by the time you got home, your embarrassment had turned to anger.
Yeah.
And just like a woman, if she had been the subject of the assault, she might feel embarrassed at first and then angry.
Yeah.
Now, my learned friend suggests that men should react differently in these circumstances. They're not entitled to be angry, having been set upon and assaulted by a group of women. Were you angry, Mr. Mustin?
Yeah.
And it was you who decided to complain to the police and not your wife?
Yeah, it was me. Yeah. Not my wife.
Thank you, Mr. Mustin. Call Lindsay Mustin, please.
Lindsay Mustin.
Take the book in your right hand and read what's on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Is your name Lindsay Mustin, and do you live at Mountain Ash, Priory Road, Fulchester?
Yes.
You live at that address with David Mustin, presumably as man and wife?
Yes.
Can you tell the court what happened on July the 20th, the day of the complaint, at about 5:15 in the afternoon?
My husband came home from work.
Where does he work?
Johnson's Plastics.
And what's his occupation?
My husband's an electrician.
You say he came home from work. Was there anything unusual about his homecoming on this particular day?
Well, for a start, he came in the back way, by the kitchen door.
He usually comes in at the front door, does he?
Yes.
Anything else unusual?
He looked funny.
Funny? In what way, funny?
Sheepish.
Sheepish?
Well, he didn't kiss me like he usually does, and he couldn't look me in the face.
Why was that?
Well, I didn't know then, that minute, but I soon found out.
Apart from looking sheepish, Mrs. Mustin, did you notice anything else unusual about him?
Well, his face, as if he'd had a good wash.
Doesn't he usually wash?
Of course he washes, but he looked, well, scrubbed. His face was glowing.
Anything else unusual about his face?
Do you mean the love bites on his neck?
And what love bites were those, Mrs. Mustin?
Well, on his neck.
Where precisely on his neck?
Well, here and here.
What made you think they were love bites?
They just were, I could tell.
You could distinguish them from other kinds of bites or injuries. Insect bites, for instance.
Yes.
How?
Oh, Mr. Sissons, not again.
I don't see how I can avoid it, my lord.
No, but I do wish you could. I mean, it's the sort of, the more you hear it, the more ridiculous it sounds. I mean, it isn't as if it were accurate. I mean, it's not even a bite, is it? That's been established beyond any doubt. All right, go on.
Yes, my lord. How did you distinguish the lesions as love bites, Mrs. Mustin?
Well, they just were. They couldn't have been anything else. I know a love bite when I see one. Every woman does if she's got eyes in her head.
So, we have your husband's scrubbed appearance and the love bites. What else about him drew your attention?
Well, his arm was scratched.
Did you notice that when he came in?
Well, no, he had his jacket on. It was afterwards when he took it off.
What else did you notice when he came in?
Well, his shirt.
Can you identify that shirt, Mrs. Mustin? Exhibit 1.
Yes, that's my husband's shirt.
The one he was wearing when he came home from work on the 20th of July.
Look, I doubt that that'll be challenged, Mr. Sissons. You know, you can be too thorough to the point of fussiness.
Yes, my lord. Mrs. Mustin, you were about to tell the jury what you noticed about your husband's shirt.
It was covered in lipstick.
Covered?
Well, there was lipstick on the collar and the shoulder. You can still see it.
Well, lipstick is on the collar and the right shoulder, members of the jury. By the way, what colour was the lipstick?
Purple.
And you don't use purple lipstick, do you, Mrs. Mustin?
Never.
Now, about the scratches that he had, Mrs. Mustin, where exactly were they?
On his arm, here and here.
Did you see your husband before he went to work that day?
Yes.
Did he have those scratches on his arm then?
No.
And how about the love bites? Were they on his neck before he went to work that day?
Definitely not.
So, presumably you asked him to explain his injuries, as any wife would.
Yes.
And what did your husband say when you asked him to explain his injuries?
He said he'd been set on by some women at work.
Set on?
Attacked. Assaulted.
Did he tell you they'd done anything else?
Oh, he said they'd kissed him and molested him and, well, caused the injuries.
The love bites and the scratches.
He said a ring had done them, one of the women's rings.
Did he explain how he'd been molested?
I didn't go into that.
Do you know any of the defendants, Mrs. Mustin? I mean, are they known to you personally?
No, I don't know them and I don't want to.
So you wouldn't have expected your husband to be on friendly terms with any of them?
No.
Did your husband subsequently decide to make a complaint to the police, Mrs. Mustin?
Yes.
When?
When? Well, the same day.
No. What I meant was, did he do it immediately he came home from work or later?
Well, almost immediately. He just changed his shirt, that's all. He didn't have his tea or anything.
Thank you, Mrs. Mustin. Would you stay where you are for a moment?
Your husband said he'd been attacked by some women at work, Mrs. Mustin.
Yes.
Did he say what women? I mean, did he name any of them?
No. Well, he did call one of them Blondie.
But he didn't mention any names, such as Mrs. Benson.
No.
Or Mrs. Bullen?
No.
You said he decided to make a complaint to the police almost immediately he came home.
Yes.
You also told the jury that your husband looked sheepish when he came home that day. That was one of the many things you noticed about him.
Yes.
But he's told us he felt angry when he came home that day. That is why he went to the police to make the complaint. Which is it? Was your husband sheepish or angry? They're very different states of mind. I'm sure you'll agree. Mrs. Mustin?
I thought my husband looked sheepish.
Sheepish. Why did you go to the police station as well as your husband, Mrs. Mustin?
I just did.
Did he ask you to go with him?
Well, he might have. I can't remember.
Now, what I'd like to give the jury, if I can, Mrs. Mustin, is an accurate picture of the events at your house when your husband came home from work that day. You see, they're very important, so if you would just bear with me. First of all, he came in through the kitchen door, didn't he?
Yes.
Which was unusual.
Yes.
Then you noticed he was looking sheepish.
Yes.
Unusual because he's usually merry and bright and kisses you.
Yes.
Next, you noticed his scrubbed appearance.
Yes.
Again, unusual.
Aren't you being a little punctilious, Mrs. Forrest?
I don't think so, my lad. Then you noticed the love bites.
Yes.
Very unusual.
Yes.
The lipstick on his shirt.
Yes.
And finally, the scratches.
Yes.
A lengthy catalogue of shots for a housewife to be confronted with at 5:15 in the afternoon. What was the day, by the way?
Monday.
Monday, on a drab, run-of-the-mill day like Monday. Oh, do you do your wash on Monday, Mrs. Mustin?
Yes.
Didn't all this make you angry?
Well, I wasn't pleased.
Very angry, in fact.
I wasn't pleased.
Oh, you must be a very cool lady, Mrs. Mustin.
I am.
Your husband has said he came home from work by bus that day.
Yes.
You knew he had?
He always does.
So you were well aware that people could possibly have seen his condition that afternoon. People on the bus, for instance.
I suppose so.
They'd have noticed his sheepishness and his scrubbed appearance, just as you did. Seen the love bites, the lipstick on his shirt, just as you did.
They might.
So didn't knowing that make you angry, Mrs. Mustin, rather than just displeased?
I didn't think about that aspect of it, actually.
Didn't you? Your husband certainly did. Wasn't that why he came in the kitchen door, to avoid the prying eyes of neighbours?
I don't know.
He's told us it was.
Then you know then, don't you?
How long have you lived at this address, Mountain Ash, Priory Road?
Since we were married.
10 months.
Yes.
It's rather a nice area of Forchester, isn't it?
Very nice.
You're very lucky to be able to afford a house like that, a young married couple.
We saved for it, didn't we, before we got married?
I suggest, Mrs. Mustin, that like your husband, it did occur to you what the neighbours thought and what the people on the bus thought. Some of them mutual friends, perhaps. And that you were more than displeased, very much more. You must have been hopping mad, Mrs. Mustin. A newly married woman and a husband comes home in broad daylight in Priory Road with purple lipstick all over his shirt, love bites.
All right. All right, I was mad, wouldn't you have been?
Yes, indeed I would, Mrs. Mustin. So this is the picture the jury have now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your husband comes home from work in that condition, and you are very angry, humiliated.
Correction, my lord. The witness has not said she was humiliated.
No, she hasn't, Mrs. Forrest.
I'm obliged, my lad. I was thinking how I might have felt myself in that situation.
I know. It's the woman in you again. The witness didn't say she was very angry either, just simply angry.
Yes, my lad. You are feeling angry then, Mrs. Mustin. What did you do about it?
Do?
Yes, do.
Well, nothing.
Oh, you just stood there feeling angry, did you?
Yes.
You didn't shout or scream as most wives would have done?
I don't do things like that.
Don't you? Do you work, by the way?
I did. I was a private secretary.
A private secretary? But you don't work now?
Well, I'm married now.
To an electrician?
Yes.
You say you didn't shout or scream or even burst into tears when your husband came home looking as he did?
No.
Then I suggest that what you did do, Mrs. Mustin, was you took your husband to the police station.
Took him?
Yes, took him. You insisted that he went, and then you took him. That is why you went with him, to make sure he got there.
That's rubbish.
Is it? I suggest that was your answer to this painful situation, your retort, to insist that your husband went to the police station to make his complaint against these 3 women, and indeed to go with him. Did you take your husband to the police station, Mrs. Mustin?
No. Why should I?
Because he had to make a complaint, didn't he?
Why?
Because if he hadn't, wouldn't it have been a tacit admission that he had been a willing party to what happened?
I don't see why.
Well, no complaint, no offence. I'm sure you're intelligent enough to realise that, Mrs. Mustin.
We could have just kept our mouths shut, couldn't we?
But you didn't, did you?
My husband didn't. No.
At your insistence?
No.
Why didn't he complain to somebody at the factory?
Oh, I don't know.
He said it was because he felt foolish.
Well, then.
And he came home looking sheepish, didn't he?
Yes.
Foolish, sheepish, much the same thing?
I suppose so, yes.
Then why, after feeling foolish and looking sheepish, why was he suddenly in the police station making his complaint, exposing himself to more embarrassment? The embarrassment of this court appearance, the embarrassment of his name in the newspapers. He's going to get his leg pulled unmercifully, isn't he, Mrs. Mustin? A man complaining about a sexual attack from a group of women. He'll be a laughingstock, won't he, Mrs. Mustin?
What's he supposed to do when he's assaulted? Isn't that what the courts are for?
She's got a point there, Mrs. Forrest. We seem to be getting rather bogged down. I think it's time we had a break.
I prefer to continue, my lad.
Patience, Mrs. Forrest.
All stand.
Duck up, little bitch.
You can say that again.
Still impatient, are we, Mrs. Forrest?
Yes, we are, my lad. You still say, do you, Mrs. Mustin, you didn't influence your husband's decision to go to the police?
No.
Not even a little?
No.
Do you exercise any influence over your husband in anything?
In some things, yes.
Well, such as?
Well, ordinary domestic things.
What sort of domestic things?
Well, what we eat, the colour we paint the bathroom.
Yes, my wife influences everything I wear.
Yes, my lad. Do you influence his social life at all, whether he goes to the pub or not, who his friends are?
But I'm not sure where this is getting us, Mrs. Forrest.
I'm trying to establish how much influence Mrs. Mustin does exert on her husband, my lad.
Well, she admits to having some, but not to the particular influence that you'd like, so this would seem to be a cul-de-sac.
I'm obliged, my lad, though
Yes, Mrs. Forrest?
I am aware of some hostility from the bench.
I think you're too sensitive, Mrs. Forrest.
Yes, my lad. What's your attitude to sex, Mrs. Mustin?
To sex?
Yes.
I don't understand.
Well, are you prudish about sex, or enlightened, or promiscuous, or what?
I'm certainly not promiscuous.
Well, what are you, then?
Well, I'm ordinary. Sex is sex. It's not the be-all and end-all, is it?
Would you agree that men are more promiscuous than women?
I don't know.
That they tend to have different standards for home and away, if you see what I mean.
I don't agree with that, no.
Oh, your husband doesn't have different standards away from home, say at work?
No.
Do you think giving somebody a love bite is an assault, Mrs. Mustin?
It leaves a mark.
There must have been an awful lot of love bites given without a prosecution for assault being brought.
I wouldn't know.
Have you ever given anybody a love bite?
No. Have you?
I'm not in the witness box. Not even your husband. Have you never given your husband a love bite?
No, I wouldn't.
So you are rather prudish then, aren't you, in modern terms, compared with what is the norm in this day and age?
I'm ordinary.
Are you happily married, Mrs. Mustin?
My lord, I've failed to understand the purpose behind this line of questioning.
Can you enlighten him, Mrs. Forrest?
I think that the witness's marital state might have some bearing on her mental state on the day of the incident, my lad.
It seems a pretty tenuous connection to me.
But not to a woman, my lad.
Well, I'll take your word for it, Mrs. Forrest, but I'd rather this case didn't become a seminar for discussing female psychology. The jury are interested in facts.
Yes, my lad. Are you happily married, Mrs. Mustin?
Yes.
So, wouldn't your husband's condition that day be more likely to upset you, a happily married woman, than if you hadn't been happily married? Then you might not have cared less.
Just a minute, Miss Forrest. Mr. Mustin, do you understand that question?
Yes.
Well, I didn't. It was the double negative that foxed me. It's all right, Mrs. Forrest.
Mrs. Mustin?
I suppose so, yes.
Doesn't it also follow, then, that if you were happily married, you had more to lose, more to protect? Indeed, you had your happy marriage to protect.
Yes.
So, wouldn't it have been very understandable if, in order to protect your happy marriage, you insisted on your husband complaining to the police?
I did not insist on my husband complaining to the police.
My lord, Mrs. Mustin has insisted she didn't insist with unceasing regularity.
Yes, I agree, Mr. Sissons.
It's my last foray into this area, my lad.
Yes, it is, Mrs. Forrest.
You've told the court you weren't bothered what your neighbours in Priory Road might have thought about your husband's condition that day.
No.
No. Or what mutual friends on the bus might have thought.
No.
Or about the embarrassment of a case like this, some of which must inevitably rub off on you.
No.
But what about your happy marriage, Mrs. Mustin? Did you care about that?
Of course I care about it.
You'd do anything to protect it, to save it.
Well, almost anything, yes.
And isn't that what this case is really all about?
Pardon?
Aren't you using this court to save your marriage, your very new, happy marriage?
No.
Isn't that why those three women are in the dock? Because you personally want to be reassured by this court that they were the aggressors and your husband was the innocent victim and that he didn't trade quip for quip, kiss for kiss, love bite for love bite?
That's not true.
You don't really trust him, do you, Mrs. Mustin?
Yes.
Isn't that why you made him complain to the police?
I didn't have to. I do trust him.
Do you, Mrs. Mustin? Do you trust him? Did you trust him that Monday afternoon when he came home covered in lipstick, looking sheepish? Did you trust him then?
David couldn't have done what you said. He couldn't have been a willing party to what went on.
Why couldn't he?
Well, he just couldn't.
Why?
Because I'd never have married him, would I, if he could do things like that?
Because you don't do things like that, do you, Mrs. Mustin?
No. It must have been them.
I've no further questions, my lad.
Thank you. Mr. Bass?
Lad, I represent the defendant, Mrs. Miller, Mrs. Mustin. When your husband complained to you, he didn't refer to Mrs. Miller by name?
No.
Did he ever say Mrs. Miller had molested him?
No.
Or explain, in fact, how he was molested?
I didn't ask him.
Mrs. Miller will deny all your husband's allegations against her, Mrs. Mustin.
Will she?
She will deny that she ever touched him, much less assaulted or molested him.
Well, what else do you expect her to do?
In fact, she will say that the last thing your husband said when he left the packing room was, "I don't know what the wife's going to say." Mrs. Mustin?
I keep telling you, they're to blame, them three bitches, not my husband. They're to blame.
Thank you, Mrs. Mustin.
Mrs. Mustin, for quite positively the last time, did you persuade, coerce, or even encourage your husband to complain to the police?
No.
He went to the police station quite voluntarily.
Yes.
You're sure of that?
Yes.
Did you perhaps even try to stop him?
No. I wouldn't do that. I mean, I'd be stupid to do that, wouldn't I?
Thank you, Mrs. Mustin. Have you any questions, my lord?
No. I think Mrs. Moston's had enough questions for one day. Thank you, Mrs. Mustin. You can stand down.
That is the prosecution's case, my lord.
Oh, Mrs. Forrest, before you begin, have you any idea how long you'll be?
I think I shall be some time, my lad. As I think I've already intimated, the case for the defence is a direct denial of the complaints.
Yes. What about you, Mr. Barris?
I don't anticipate being too long, my lad. As far as my client is concerned, she will say that she was a mere spectator.
That sounds more promising. All right, Mrs. Forrest.
Can Mrs. Benson go into the witness box, please?
Good luck, love. Thank you. Belt up, Frida, for Christ's sake. I can't help it. I can't help it.
The Queen against Mrs. Benson, Mrs. Bullen, and Mrs. Miller will be concluded tomorrow in the Crown Court. The case you're about to see is fictional, but the procedure is accurate. The characters are played by actors, but the jury is selected from members of the public.
I'm 35.
And how many children do you have, Mrs. Benson?
4.
How long have you worked at Johnson's Plastic?
12 years on and off. I leave when I'm expecting and then I go back after. They're very good like that.
And you work in the packing room there?
Yeah, it's like going home.
Can you tell the court what was taking place in the packing room on the afternoon of July 20th this year?
Oh, well, we were having a bit of a do, you know, a party for Frida, Mrs. Miller. Well, it was her birthday, you see, and we usually have a party when it's somebody's birthday. Well, we always have done. And management, they're very good about it. I mean, well, we work hard enough.
This is the final day of the case being tried at the Crown Court, in which Mrs. Benson and 2 other housewives deny charges of assault, causing actual bodily harm, and indecent assault. They're alleged to have attacked and molested another worker, David Mustin, during a birthday party at the factory where they were all employed.
And who was invited to the party?
Anybody.
But who, in fact, came to it?
What, besides us lot, you mean?
Besides the women working in the packing room, yes.
Oh, well, only David. You see, 2 other fellas were scared. Well, we've got a bit of a reputation, you know.
Oh, for what? A reputation for what?
Well, having a bit of fun, skylarking, you know.
What do you mean exactly by a bit of fun?
Well, like grabbing them under the mistletoe at Christmas, you know, just generally marlicking about.
Marlicking?
Well, you know, kissing them and chatting them up and, well, pinching their trousers, perhaps, you know, just generally skylarking, having a bit of fun.
A horseplay?
Yeah, that's right. Horseplay.
I much prefer marlicking, Mrs. Forrest.
And the men at the factory were well aware of the dangers they faced if they attended one of these parties.
Oh, I think so. We've been having them for yonks.
Yonks? Oh, we could be in a foreign country. Oh.
What does yonks mean, Mrs. Benson?
A long while. A long time.
Just let me get it down. Just a minute, marlicking. All right, go on, Mrs. Forrest.
So, Mr. Mustin would have been aware of this risk, Mrs. Benson?
Oh, I should hope so.
But he still came?
Oh, yeah.
What happened when he came?
What happened? Well, we gave him a drink.
First of all, did he say why he'd come?
Not as I remember.
Well, did he say anything about a wonky PowerPoint?
Not to me, he didn't.
Well, did you know anything about a wonky PowerPoint?
A wonky PowerPoint?
Broken, my lad. Did you know anything about a broken PowerPoint?
No.
So, when he arrived, you gave him a drink?
Yeah. Well, Avril did. Mrs. Bullen.
What of?
Wine. I think he asked for wine, red wine.
In a glass?
Well, we had some glasses, but he said he preferred a mug.
Oh, he said he preferred a mug?
Well, he could get more in a mug, couldn't he?
Then what happened?
Well, and the next thing I knew, he and Avril were mauling one another.
Mauling?
Well, kissing and that, you know.
Oh, what do you mean exactly by and that?
Well, you know, touching one another.
In full view of everybody. I mean, they hadn't disappeared behind a filing cabinet.
We don't have any filing cabinets in the packing room, love.
No, I suppose not. Then what happened?
Well, the next thing I knew, somebody shouted, "Hey, look at her, greedy bitch." Well, something like that.
Meaning Mrs. Bullen?
Yeah.
What happened then?
Well, then David said, any more for the skylark? Come on, ladies, don't be bashful.
Was
Something
that
like that.
typical of him, would you say? I mean, typical of his attitude to women, of his attitude to marlicking?
Oh, yeah, he's a right little bantam cock, is David. Well, at least he thinks he is.
Did the ladies respond to his invitation?
Well, what do you think?
Well, what did they do?
Well, they went for him, didn't they? I mean, he asked for it.
Did you go for him, Mrs. Benson?
I was one, yeah.
What exactly did you do to Mr. Mustin?
Well, we pulled him down on the floor and somebody started unfastening his shirt.
Did you unfasten his shirt?
I helped.
Did you do anything else?
Well, then somebody started drawing on his tummy with lipstick, you know, but they were making a terrible mess of it, just lines, you know. So I took it off for it, with young Jenny, I think, and, well, I drew the first thing that came into my head. Great big sun.
With the lipstick?
Yeah.
And what was Mr. Mustin doing all this time?
Nothing much except enjoying it.
Oh, didn't he struggle?
Did he? He were too busy trying to maul Avril. Well, he fancies Avril. Well, they all do.
So, you drew this sun on his stomach. What happened when you'd finished?
Well, David knew we were up to something. I mean, you can't draw on somebody's tummy without him knowing, so he sat up.
He says he was being held down.
Only by Avril, if you can call what they were doing being held down.
So, he sat up.
Yeah, he sat up and he looks at me handiwork and he says, "Hey, sun's setting."
Did he do anything?
Well, he tightened his muscles, you know. Well, what muscles he had, they were not to shout about.
He said the sun's setting and tightened his muscles. Did he say or do anything else?
Well, when his belly flopped out again, he said, "Hey, it's rising now."
Did he get any response from all this? Any laughs?
Well, of course he did. That's why he did it. He fancies he's a bit of a comic, does David. He's always telling jokes, you know. Some of them are right filthy.
So he was enjoying himself?
Oh, yeah, every minute of it.
And he didn't struggle?
No.
Did you unfasten his trousers, Mrs. Benson?
Well, I think they did come undone while all this was going on, yeah.
Accidentally?
Well, I certainly didn't undo him. I mean, he should be so lucky.
Now, I've already warned the court once about these interruptions. Please warn your witness not to encourage it.
Just answer the question, please, Mrs. Benson. So, his trousers might have become unfastened in the general fracas.
Pardon?
The general melee, fun.
Oh, yeah.
Did you pour wine or drink of any kind over Mr. Mustin's private parts, Mrs. Benson?
No, never in this world.
Can you offer the court any explanation as to why Mr. Mustin should think that somebody did?
Well, Avril might have poured a drink over him when he grabbed her.
And in everything else that went on, the kissing, the rough and tumble, the writing on his tummy, Mr. Mustin was a keen and willing participant.
Oh, yeah, we're chuffed to blazes. He thought it was his birthday, never mind Frida's. Then he has the bloody cheek to put the police on us. You wait till my husband gets his hands on him. Just you wait.
Thank you, Mrs. Benson. Would you stay there a moment,
Yes.
please?
What's your attitude to sex, Mrs. Benson?
Come again, love.
I asked you what your attitude to sex is.
I don't know as I have one.
Isn't it fairly permissive? I mean, you've just told the court that your parties in the packing room had a reputation for marlicking.
Are you asking me if I like fellas?
Yes, I am.
Well, of course I do. Ask my husband if you don't believe me.
So, your attitude to sex is permissive?
Yes, all right, love, if you like, I'm permissive. But no more than my man was. Or a man before that come to that. We just like a bit of fun. Don't you or something?
So isn't Mr. Mustin's version of the events in the packing room that afternoon more likely to be the correct one?
He is told a pack of lies.
You didn't attack him and pull him to the ground.
Well, we pulled them both down, he and Avril. They were stuck together like treacle butties.
And then you covered him with lipstick.
Ah, hang on. I drew a very lifelike sun on him, my love. I'd have been top of class for it at school.
Then you unfastened his shirt and poured wine over him.
I told you that was an accident.
But you don't deny that you pulled him to the ground, unfastened his shirt and covered him with lipstick.
I don't deny that, no.
Then why are you pleading not guilty?
Because, love, we didn't assault him. We just had a bit of fun. It's better than a bottle of medicine any day. Hey, you should try it sometime. You look like you could do with your tonic.
No more questions, my lord.
I've just one question, Mrs. Benson. Did Mrs. Miller take any part at all in any of this?
Oh, Frida, you must be joking. She couldn't say boo to a goose, let alone assault anyone.
Thank you, Mrs. Benson. Could you go back to the dock, please?
Yes, thank you.
Mrs. Bullen, would you go into the witness box, please?
Oh, now, come on, Frida. It'll be all right, love. Just stop.
How can it be?
Oh, come on.
How can it
Frida,
be?
we just shouldn't.
Oh.
Where do you live, Mrs. Bullen?
Number 9 Crompton Crescent, Moorfield Estate.
You're married too, of course.
Yeah,
Do you have any children?
just the one.
Now, Mr. Mustin has told us you kissed him without warning, without invitation.
That's not what happened.
Well, what did happen then?
I give him his wine, right?
In a mug?
He asked for a mug.
Go on, Mrs. Bullen.
So I give him his drink, and he grabs me hand, this hand, and he wouldn't let go, would he? Dead corny, you know, but he's known for it, is David.
So, he had hold of your right hand.
And he pulls me to him and he says, "I like your lipstick. Does it taste as good as it looks?" I told you he was corny.
Did he make a remark before that about the wine?
Oh, yes, he asked me if it turned me on. He said it did his wife.
Then he held your hand and pulled you to him.
Right.
Then what?
He starts kissing me, doesn't he?
How? A friendly pet?
Oh, very passionately. Like he was desperate, you know.
Where did he kiss you?
Oh, on the lips, my chin, my neck, my ear. He didn't leave no stone unturned, if you know what I mean.
Did he give you any love bites?
3 here. They were there for nearly a week. My husband gave me some very funny looks, I can tell you.
Did you respond at all to Mr. Mustin's passion?
Well, I'm only human.
Did you give him any love bites?
I don't think so. I can't remember doing. I mean, he's no Steve McQueen, is he?
What went on? Was it at his instigation and was your pleasure more than reciprocated?
If you mean did he enjoy it, like Rhoda says, he had a ball. I think he's fancied me for a long time, anyway.
Oh, why do you think that?
Well, you can tell when a bloke fancies you, can't you? His eyes are always on you. Like you was the last cream bun, you know.
Now, the same applies to this witness, Mrs. Forrest.
Just answer the question, please, Mrs. Bullen. Did you pour any drink on Mr. Mustin's private parts, Mrs. Bullen?
All I know is, when he grabbed me, I lost my drink.
So it could have been your drink that spilled over him?
Could have been.
Thank you, Mrs. Bullen. Do you just stay there, please?
Mrs. Bullen, you deny, absolutely, do you, that you forced your attentions on Mr. Mustin?
I do. I've never had to force my attentions on anyone. It's always been the other way about.
Well, he definitely had got love bites on his neck. The doctor has told the court that they were love bites.
Well, I don't remember giving him in.
What's your attitude to sex, Mrs. Bullen?
I'm like Rhoda. It's there, isn't it? Like your feet are. You don't try and cut your feet off, do you?
So you're fairly permissive?
I enjoy life. You're only young once.
So isn't it more than likely that it was you who made the amorous advances to Mr. Mustin? It was you who kissed him, gave him the love bites?
That's what he'd like to think. Course he would. He lives in a world of his own as far as women are concerned, does David. Ask him how much he spends every week on dirty books.
I think that's enough, Mrs. Bullen.
Did Mrs. Miller take part in any of these incidents? The kissing, the drawing, the wrestling?
No way.
Thank you. With the approval of my learned friend, my lord, I propose to call my client now.
I've no objection, Mr. Bass.
Can Mrs. Miller come into the witness box, please?
Come on, sweetie, love, you want it?
I can't. I can't.
Talking about.
Mrs. Miller, you come into the witness box,
No, I
please.
can't.
Yes, she can.
Can't?
Stand there while they ask
I can't. I can't.
Ever so easy, love.
I wonder if she could give her evidence where she is, my lad.
I don't see why not, Mr. Bass.
Thank you.
I can't. I can't.
Easy, really is. Nice. Done it, love.
Stand, please.
Come on, you've got to stand up. Stand up.
Take the book in your right hand and read from the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I should give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Try to speak up, Mrs. Miller. Now, the party in the packing room that afternoon was for your birthday, was it, Mrs. Miller?
Yes,
How old are you?
50.
You're married? Are you married, Mrs. Miller?
I'm a widow.
And you have 2 sons,
Yes.
both professional men, I believe, doctors. Mrs. Miller? I know this is very difficult for you, Mrs. Miller, but you must try and compose yourself. Perhaps if she could have a glass of water, my love. Now, Mrs. Miller.
Had so much to drink, none of this would have happened. And it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
And you're the packing room manager at Johnson's, Mr. Wormsley.
That's what they call me now, but it used to be just Foreman.
How long have you been foreman and manager?
Ooh, nearly 15 years.
So you know your women employees pretty well.
Well, let's say I work with them 8 hours a day.
But do you know them well?
Oh, better than their husband, I dare say.
That's rather ambiguous, Mr. Wormsley. It could be mistaken.
I know what ambiguous means.
I'm sorry.
I meant to know their ways. I just know them.
What kind of women are they, generally?
Well, they're no better or no worse than any others. They're hard workers, as long as you keep your eye on them. I would say they're a happy lot, though sometimes you wonder why some of them are, what the problems at home with their husbands, and especially their kids. But they do anybody a good favour. They'll give you the last shilling. I'm speaking in a general way, but of course there are exceptions. There's a bad apple in every battle.
What about Mrs. Benson and Mrs. Bullen? Do they fit your general description?
I would say they did, especially Rhoda.
Did you see any of the incidents on July 20th?
No, I was at a production meeting. I thought it was best I was out of the way.
Oh, well, did Mr. Mustin ever complain to you about his treatment at the party?
Not a word.
Did you see him that afternoon?
Yes, I saw him in the toilets.
Well, did he say anything about what had gone on?
Not a word.
Were you surprised when you eventually heard his allegations against these three women?
I was surprised that he'd made them.
That's rather ambiguous again, Mr. Wormsley.
I was surprised that David had objected to... knowing him.
Thank you, Mr. Wormsley.
You're not, in fact, saying, then, that these ladies were not capable of doing what's alleged, Mr. Wormsley?
Really, my lord, the witness has not said anything of the sort.
No, I rather think you made the question admissible by your own examination, Mrs. Forrest.
As your lordship pleases.
Are you saying that these ladies were incapable of doing what it is alleged they did, Mr. Wormsley?
I wouldn't really know. All I know is it's never happened to me what happened to young David.
Ah, but you don't go to these parties, do you?
I've been to a few.
And you've not been kissed and molested?
No.
But with respect, you're hardly a young man, are you, Mr. Wormsley? Not like Mr. Mustin.
I might not be young, but I'm not past it either. My gas hasn't run out yet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wormsley.
Oh, by the way, is Mrs. Miller feeling all right?
She says, could she go to the toilet, my lord?
Yes, of course. We'll adjourn.
All stand.
Members of the jury, you've listened to the evidence in this case, and you've heard the closing speeches by the prosecution and the defense. It now remains for me to sum up that evidence, not all of which is disputed. The defense admits that Mr. Mustin was kissed by Mrs. Bullen, though she can't remember kissing him passionately enough to produce these lesions, these love bites that we've heard so much about. Now, Mrs. Benson agrees that she helped to pull Mr. Mustin to the floor and that she unbuttoned his shirt and drew on his stomach with the lipstick. The allegation disputed is the indecent assault. Both Mrs. Benson and Mrs. Bullen deny that they poured drink onto Mr. Mustin's private parts. The substance of this allegation was attributed to Mrs. Miller, of course. If you remember, Mr. Mustin said it was Mrs. Miller who called out, "Bombs away." Although he also insisted that Mrs. Bullen and Mrs. Benson also took part in this incident. Do you remember there's evidence from both Mrs. Bullen and Mrs. Benson that Mrs. Miller was incapable of an act such as that, or indeed of any of the acts alleged. So those are the allegations and the facts, members of the jury. But they are by no means the whole of the matter. Now let us look at the prosecution case. The prosecution insists that the various assaults were committed against the wishes of Mr. Mustin, and that he was kissed and received the lesions from Mrs. Bullen without invitation, that he tried to resist being pulled to the floor, his shirt being unfastened, and the application of the lipstick. The defense, it was Mrs. Forrest herself, made the point that Mr. Mustin might be a match for any number of women. But on the other hand, he said they were behaving like animals, didn't he? So it's for you to decide, members of the jury. Prosecution also insists that never at any time did Mr. Mustin invite or provoke the assaults. He was in every way the innocent victim. The defense say he went to the party knowing exactly what to expect, and when his expectations were fulfilled, he enjoyed every second of what transpired. But this again is for you to consider. So why then did he go to the police? Mr. Mustin's evidence was that he was angered by the action of the defendants. On the other hand, it was Mrs. Forrest in her vigorous cross-examination of Mrs. Mustin who suggested that it was she who persuaded him to make his complaint. Again, you must decide whether you accept his story, or that when he arrived home that day to face his wife, He pretended to be the victim rather than the participant in order to protect his position with her. And finally, you've seen the defendants give evidence. They make no attempt to hide the fact that sexual horseplay, marlicking as they called it, does take place in this factory, as it probably does in many others. But you must decide, members of the jury, whether that sexual horseplay went much too far and in fact constituted assault occasioning actual bodily harm and indecent assault against Mr. Mustin. He's perfectly entitled to challenge a physical or sexual assault, just as a woman would be. And if you accept that, you must find the accused guilty. But if you take the other view, that what took place was with the consent of Mr. Mustin, then you will find the defendants not guilty. Now, will you please retire, elect a foreman to speak for you, and consider your verdict.
All stand.
The prisoners will stand. Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Please answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict on which you're all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the defendants, Rhoda Benson, Avril Bullen, Frida Miller, guilty or not guilty of assault occasioning actual bodily harm?
Not guilty.
Do you find the defendants guilty or not guilty of indecent assault?
Not guilty.
You can join us again when our cameras return to watch another case in the Crown Court.